back in by Mazraoui, in towards Dalot. Dalot tees it up, the Ligue with a second chance, blocked by Ramsdale. Terrific goalkeeping, but where on earth were the Southampton defence? They parted like the Red Sea. As soon as the ball went into the box, they disappeared. There were just a flood of Manchester United jerseys, and Ramsdale, who has got his arms in the air outstretched as if to say, where on earth did everybody go?
You explained it really well. The whole back line pushed up on that occasion. Very similar to the earlier goal, the first goal. But my goodness, why Southampton, the whole back line are running out away from goal. United said, okay, that's fine, you can do that, but we're going to run into your box and time our runs well. And, well, if that would have been resulting in a goal, Sam, this game is well and truly beyond Southampton.
44 minutes on the clock. Southampton 0, Manchester United 2. And look, the team's defensive record over the last few years has been tricky, but they've conceded a lot of goals now, Southampton, in their first 4 fixtures of this season. It's a cause for concern, because it was a cause for concern in the Championship.
If you look at their general play, I've been quite buoyed up by what I've seen by Southampton. I think they've played with confidence, they've knocked the ball around well, they've not took liberties at the back, they just haven't defended particularly well.
And they're so vulnerable to the counter-attack, because the high line just pushes up. I mean, the two things that really help Manchester United here is that Southampton are likely to make an error playing out from the back, and if they don't do that, and they occupy the ball inside your half of the field, their high line means it's an opportunity for you to counter-attack, and they've done that on a couple of occasions, and they've profited from it, and as a result, they lead by 2-0. Set pieces have been difficult for them as well, actually. I think both the goals came via set pieces, recharge set pieces. United will go in at the break with a cushion and the opportunity to win on the south coast. And the other thing is, the 2 goals at the end of the first half on that just deflates the atmosphere inside St Mary's, and that will sneak onto the pitch, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree, because if you're a Saints fan, you'd be looking at the general run of play, ball on the penalty spot with Archer earlier, and you think, well, we've done really well today. The goalkeeper saves it, all of a sudden, 10 minutes later or so, you're 2-0 down, you think, well, where did that come from?
Well, does it come from tactical naivety? Because that's what some of the more critical Southampton fans will say.
Well, I think playing out from the back was the tagline leading into the game. I don't think any of the goals in this game or any of the general mistakes within their defensive work has come from playing out from the back and overplaying.
But the set pieces from which they've conceded have come from counter-attacks.
Yeah, and poor defending, squeezing out, leaving a player in on his own, and then squeezing out together and failing to track runners.
Sandro Martinez plays the ball through the centre circle on the halfway, just to the right of that is Bruno Fernandes. Mazraoui comes forward, plays it further out to the right. It's collected by Bruno Fernandes. 4 minutes of added time at the end of the first half. The first half in which Southampton have done particularly well for the large part. The biggest problem is they've conceded 2 goals, which is not particularly helpful if you're trying to win a football match. They've had 53% of the ball, they've had 5 attempts, 3 on goal, missed the penalty. Manchester United have had the greater number of attempts, most of those coming on the counter-attack after Southampton have lost the ball inside opposition territory. But that big moment, that big turning point of the game, probably when Cameron Archer sends the penalty too close to Andre Onana, he makes a save, and Archer couldn't put in the rebound. It remains 2-0 to Manchester United. Half-time Wimbledon lead FK Dons by a goal to nil. Swindon are 4-0 up against Newport in the first half. 1-1 Northampton, Wickham in League 1. Mansfield have 1-0 against Cambridge. 0-0 Oxford Stoke. And Millwall 0, Luton 2 is the latest scoreline in the Championship. And over on TalkSport 2, Burnley still in front. Luka Kolyosha with the only goal of that game on TalkSport 2. Goals here. Marcus Rashford's first of the campaign for Manchester United. He's never scored for Manchester United at St Mary's before. He has done now. The first goal coming from Matthijs de Ligt, his first goal in Manchester United colours. Here he is on the ball, deep inside his own territory, back to Martinez. Martinez across to Diogo Dalot. Has been an entertaining game up until Manchester United went 2-0 in front, because at 2-0 it just makes it a little bit less competitive, doesn't it?
I think it's been a super first half. I've got to say, to sit here as a neutral, I've really enjoyed the game. I think there's been plenty of efforts at both ends of the pitch. It's not been a coy game by any standards, you know, and it's in it.
Well, it certainly was fun until it got to the point where Manchester United had that cushion. Now they have that cushion, they can play the game in a slightly different way. There is the half-time whistle. Well, after a sketchy start to the season, Manchester United required a show of strength on the south coast. Thanks to De Ligt and Rashford, they're well on their way to achieving that. However, I don't think that tells you the full story of a 45 minutes in which Southampton really were the better side until Manchester United scored. But they are just 45 minutes away from a fourth straight defeat, and they're already at a bit of a crossroads. At half-time, it is Southampton 0, Manchester United 2.
Sam, I suppose, thank you very much. Players heading down the tunnel. Some of the fans are heading up for a little half-time break, and the break will certainly be needed for this Southampton side. They're going to have to gather their thoughts, reflect on that performance. They don't have long, because they're going to try and come back in this second half if they're to avoid defeat against this United side. And it's a side that they really stood up against in the early exchanges of that game. Stuart Pearce dominated possession, as we heard there. They had that penalty. That proves that miss from Cameron Archer proved to be so decisive for Manchester United. Minutes later, Matthijs de Ligt scored, and Marcus Rashford as well 6 minutes after that. And if you're United, are you lucky to be ahead because of the defensive errors of Southampton? Would you say they're lucky, or they earned that?
I would say they're quite fortunate. You know, they've come up against a side that have been very loose with their defending and gifted them a couple of goals. You know, they'll be very disappointed with their defensive work, Southampton. But the other side, two sides of it really, you're looking, I wasn't expecting to see a Southampton team to come out and play with the confidence they did, certainly for them, up until, well, the penalty and just beyond, and you thought, well, you thoroughly deserve to be in front if Archer scores. And then from that moment on, you always think, oh, is there a sting in the tail on the penalty? And there certainly was. There was an opportunity before the goal, then the goal, and then another, you know, just defensive errors. It was just down to the team pushing up from corners. Firstly, leaving Stevens in and played everybody on side, and second time out as well, just squeezing up and leaving too much space there, and they really paid the penalty, and it's tough on them, but it's the Premier League, you know, it's unforgiving.
So it's the system they're wedded to, which again is proving to be their undoing.
I don't think the system really, you know, they're just defensive mistakes. You want a bit of leadership within your ranks and a bit of collective get together. You almost look at it and think, I wonder if all week they practice playing out from the back and playing through the thirds and doing all the nice things in the game and not concentrating.
It almost feels like that, doesn't it? On the basics.
On the basics of, look, let's defend and keep a good solid clean sheet and devote a bit of time to that. I may be totally wrong, I'm not inside the Southampton back line, but they were certainly two mistakes that have been very costly.
What would you have done differently? You would have marshalled that defence, wouldn't you? You would have got them all in line.
Well, put it this way, you can't leave one person in, because United, they had 2 or 3 players waiting to score when Stevens played them on side. I'm pretty sure it was Stevens. I'm not doing him a disservice. And prior to that, I think Ramsdale will be a little bit disappointed with a goal that come through bodies as well. He's waiting for someone to get a touch on it. You know, I'm no goalkeeper, but I think you've got to move your feet accordingly, even if you're waiting for a potential touch or not. By the time he planted himself and thought, is there going to be a touch there, he's got too much to do on the dive.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? If you're Russell Martin, what are you telling your team in this half-time break then? Do they stick to their principles? Is he going to make changes in that back line? Does he have the players to make that back line more effective against this United side who will take their opportunity when it's there?
Look, if you make things tighter at the back, you can't win the game, you know what I mean? The bottom line is he's 2 goals down. He needs to get the next goal in this game. I personally don't think there's changes afoot at this moment in time. I'll be surprised if he does, because I think in general play his team haven't done too badly.
The best thing I was to do in 2024 is to get a fully remote online job that takes 2 hours a day to do, and that pays $6 to $12,000. Get an actual job. And it sounds crazy because you've been bombarded with all these online business opportunities from all these gurus, how to make money on the side on the internet. But the best way to actually do it and actually make some money instead of just flying it down to the business opportunities with your results is to get a job. I have a job like this myself. I've had it for almost 3 years, and I just recorded a quick presentation on my website where I go over exactly what the job is and how you get it. So that sounds interesting. You click the link below and watch the presentation. I will leave you.
Those who notice when the team of Galacticos, with a packed European and domestic schedule, might be about to underestimate the very roster
because you can take 3 directions today. If it's forward drive, if you walk this far and agree that your time is
Think about making a cup of tea.
And with unrivaled news from the Premier League to League 2, it has to be goals! Stay up to date on all the latest football action. Get your free copy of Goals every Saturday, Sunday and Monday, only in the Sun.
Screwfix Sprint delivers from store to door in 60 minutes or less. So, whatever the job, you can do it with less hassle and more hustle. Less pausing and more pressing on. So don't break your stride. Screwfix Sprint. Order now exclusively on a Screwfix app. £5 delivery charge, no minimum spend. Don't stop. Sprint. Conditions and geographical restrictions apply. Selected products. Game day exclusive on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes. So if you've got a plan, we've got a van. Pushing the apex of live football. A goal when they most needed it. Winner of Best Sports Coverage in the 2024 ARIA
Radio Awards. Game day exclusive on Talk Sports.
You're listening to Game Day exclusive this Saturday lunchtime. Great to have your company. And it is half-time here at St Mary's, where it is Southampton 0, Manchester United 2 in the Championship. They're over on TalkSport 2. It's Leeds 0, Burnley 1, Millwall 0, Luton 1, Oxford United 0, Stoke City 0. In League 1, it's Mansfield 1, Cambridge 0, Northampton 1, Wycombe Wanderers 1, and in League 2, your latest score is AFC Wimbledon 1, MK Dons 0 in that grudge match, and Swindon Town 4, Newport County 0. Those are your updates at half-time, and it's time to get the latest now, the update from Betfair, the official betting partner of TalkSport's Premier League coverage.
Odds update on TalkSport with Betfair. Get a completely free ACCA or bet builder on football this weekend. Opt-in and previous deposit required. Max free bet varies from £1 to £10 per customer. Minimum odds and T's and C's apply. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org.
James Mackey from Betfair joins us now. We talked pre-match, didn't we, when that team news came in. You were scrambling to change a few predictions there and a few of the odds. How's it looking now that United have sort of taken that advantage? It's almost as if Erik ten Hag's decision to keep Rashford in was actually a genius move, even though all of us were a little bit surprised at it.
Yeah, it looks that way, doesn't it? It's been a strange first half, really, because Southampton started the better of the two sides, didn't they? Winning Tyler Dublin, carving out that great opportunity, and also winning the penalty. They should have seen them leading the game. However, the game flipped on its head, didn't it? Delit made it 1-0 to United less than 5 minutes later. The Rashford strike to make it 2-0. It's a long way back for Saints now, who are 33-1 to come back in the second half. Although they did not have much of the ball early on, United did create some good opportunities, but we're looking to be leading with a 9 of currently, so changing the game. Leading 2-0 at half-time, they are 1-16 favourites to see it out in the second half. With Rashford scored just before half-time, potentially killing the game. It looks a long way back for Southampton, doesn't it? But if they can score twice to grab a point in the second half, they can be back at 12-1 to get the draw. Looking at some of the player markets for the second half, and Marcus Rashford, he scored his first goal for Man United since March, and we'll be looking to get a second in the second half. He's 11-4 to score a second and 33-1 to grab a hat-trick. Joshua Zirkzee, he had 2 big chances as well, didn't he? He looks like he wants to get on the score sheet in the second half. He's 5-2 to do so. And for Southampton, as I mentioned earlier, Tyler Dublin, he's been their main man in the first half. He looked dangerous for Saints, and he's 100-30 to score or assist in the second half. Just on the Toby Bowles, an update at half-time, where it's actually looking really good at the moment. Kobe Manu, he was Cardi, wasn't he? That was the 92, that led with him. United, they're currently leading.
Put his hand out to poke my shoulder, so there you go with the charity bet. So he's looking a bit more hopeful about that. Carry on.
Yeah, like I said, Manu's cards in. United are currently leading 2-0, so if that leg stays the same and United are winning at full time, that would be great for the second part of that bet. And all we need now is Southampton goal to land the BTTS. So really, if Southampton score in the second half, United can stay winning at full time, that would be 842 pence to the Bobby Morphans. So fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed for that. That would be absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much, James Mackey from Betfair. That odds update is all thanks to Betfair. Returns are accurate as of 10 minutes ago for verifications from betfair.com. Over 18 gaming conditions apply. Do go to begambleaware.org.
Odds update on TalkSport with Betfair. Get a completely free ACCA or bet builder on football this weekend. Previous deposit required. Max free bet varies from £1 to £10 per customer. Minimum odds and T's and C's apply. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org.
Adrian Durham is at Anfield for us as Liverpool take on Nottingham Forest. Adrian, how are you? How was your international break? You were very busy, weren't you?
Always. The international break.
Never stops.
It's a great time to find football. So I was at Harrogate Thursday night for the first time ever. Dunfermline last night. And at Anfield today for Liverpool against Nottingham Forest. Liverpool, the only, them and Man City, the only 100% team so far. And as ever on a Saturday afternoon, we'll be around the grounds with all the goals as they go in from up and down the country and in Scotland as well. We include the National League in that.
Absolutely. Look, Nottingham Forest's first Premier League fixture at Anfield was a goalless draw back in February 1993. But in all of their, if you go head-to-head in terms of their results, Liverpool have won 60 of their games. Forest have won half of that, just over half, 31. And they've had almost 30 draws. So are we just looking at a Liverpool win today?
We are, but...
Absolutely.
I think that they will put up a show, but I suspect that Liverpool are too much in the end for Nottingham Forest. Bearing in mind the start of the season, Liverpool is a lot better non-stop. Certainly, I thought it would be fair play. Let's see how long it lasts. But yeah, you've got to expect a home win here, given the starts to the season.
Yeah, absolutely right. As you say, Nuno's done a really decent job, at least with Nottingham Forest so far. Our live game over on Talksport 2, though, is Manchester City against Brentford. Now, the last time that City were beaten on their turf in 90 minutes was actually by Brentford. I believe myself, Sam, and probably Stuart were at that game because it was a 12:30 kickoff. It was a surprise 2-1 win back in November 2022, and it was a brace. Because of a brace from the long-departed Ivan Toney. I mean, they've proven that they can do it without him. Any chance of them replicating that, do you think, today, or is City just too much on fire?
I doubt it. I mean, I think City have they've had their Brentford's number apart from that one game. You know, the first two away games, Brentford difficult. They lost 2-0 here at Anfield, and now they're away at Manchester City. Get them out of the way, then see what you can do. If they get anything, it's an absolute bonus for City, 100% so far. They won the first 6 games last season. You can see them doing even better this season.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Adrian, have a great one. Look forward to listening to you on my way home. Here at St Mary's, though, the second half is about to kick off. The teams are out in the pitch. I'm going to hand you back to our coverage team, Stuart Pearce. But first,
there was a deflating end. Followed by their first 30 minutes here. The Southampton can actually beat United at home. Ryan Giggs, the Neville brothers, Roy Keane and Ruud van Nistelrooy started. He's on the bench today for Manchester United, sitting there as the assistant manager of the club. James Beattie scored the winner. You know what year it was? I'll give you another 97. No, I'll give you another one for you. I know you'll get it with this one. Beyonce released her first debut album.
Beyonce. My God. 2013.
2003.
Oh.
Yeah. James Beattie, I think, is probably a Barclaysman, isn't he?
Is he really?
From earlier? Yeah, I think he probably counts. 2-0 at half-time. Then Manchester United in dark blue shirts attacking the goal away to our left. It's the red and white stripes of Southampton away to our right-hand side. They're attacking in the second half. They've got their goalkeepers Ramsdale. It's Sugawara at right back, Baker, Stevenson, Walker-Peters in a back four today, with Ogachukwu and Downs in front of them. Fernandez in the 10, Dibbling, who had a really good first half on the right-hand side, Brereton Diaz on the left, including a Cameron after he missed that penalty and then didn't get close enough to Marcus Rashford on the edge of the penalty area to close him down and prevent him from getting his shot away, which then went in at the far post past Aaron Ramsdale, whose view was blocked by Matthias de Ligt. United have got an honouring goal. Mazraoui, de Ligt, Martinez and Dallo the back four, Ericsson and Mainu, the two holders in midfield, Amad Diallo, Bruno Fernandes and Rashford behind Xerxes in attack. It's 2-0, and if you're Russell Martin, what did you say at half-time, and where do you go from here?
I think the nature of him as an individual, I would suspect, would be someone who said, look, there's a lot of good stuff that we've done in that first half. Don't lose track of that. We've got to be a little bit tighter with our defensive work. We can't afford to give goals away, which they did, I think, with their defending. But their general play was fine. I would say keep giving Dibbling the ball because he's been a bit of a handful for Dallo on this side of the pitch. But the key to them at this moment, Sam, will be wrestling possession away from United, because as you mentioned at the end of the first half, United's game plan is slightly different now. They just have to wait for the right time to counter-attack.
Martinez into Ericsson looking to float the ball forward over to the right-hand side where Diallo was in space and waiting, and he's got Mazraoui on the outside of him. He feeds him now, the Moroccan, into the centre, and actually he went for goal at the near post and tried to catch out Ramsdale, and only found the side netting in the end. And the referee Strabo was suggesting there was a little nick off Ramsdale. I don't think there was actually. I think that hit the outside of the post and went straight behind. But the assistant on the far side and Stuart Atwell have decided that it's going to be a corner. Oh no, they've changed their minds. Now how did they come to that conclusion, Stuart Pearce? Because he was pretty forthright about the fact that he had pointed for a corner kick and then waited 15 seconds, by which time, funnily enough, we'd all seen a replay and seen that it had gone straight off the post and out of play, therefore should have been a goal kick. They might have used a bit of technology there that they're not supposed to.
Well, it certainly seems like it. I'm very surprised. I, like you, didn't think there was any touch on it from the offset.
Well, anyway, there's a goal kick cleared by Southampton, but it's come back very quickly, and Manchester United have it with Fernandes midway inside opposition territory on the right-hand side, jinking in again into the penalty area. Ahmad Diallo this time tries to feed Mainu, pops off Mainu and goes away and into the arms of Aaron Ramsdale away to our left-hand side in that lighter green but still quite bright goalkeeping uniform. He'll kick clear. The clouds have just started to gather above our heads now. Southampton trailing by 2-0. The Southampton fans trying to find their voice at the start of the second half. Southampton winless in their last 14 Premier League meetings with Manchester United, and despite their troubles, winning against promoted teams is something that Manchester United tend to do very often. They've lost. Just one of their last 30 games against teams that have come up from the Championship. And Matthias Fernandes was brought down trying to shield the ball, and then he handled it, I think, which is why the free kick then went against him as Southampton tried to break. And Manchester United get hold of it once again. But then there was an example of there being far too much room inside the Manchester United half for Southampton to play in. And if Manchester United are going to progress from here, they've got to tighten up too.
Yeah, they certainly have. As I say, Southampton have had decent opportunities within this game, you know, and
it's 4-on-3 in Manchester United's favour, though, and they're on the break with Rashford fed by Eriksen into the penalty area. Right blue shot, takes a deflection. Never looked particularly confident there as he came on his right foot, and it bopped off Bednarek and goes behind the way for a corner. Oxford take the lead in the game at the Kazam Stadium. They lead Stoke by a goal to nil. Stoke have had a really good start to the season, really. They have won 5 of their last 7 league matches, but it's Oxford United who have taken the lead, and they've had a really good start at the Kazam this campaign. It could be another victory there for Des Buckingham.
I'm just looking at that effort there by Rashford. He's got Bednarek backpedaling into his own box. You would expect him to score there, you know, or at least get a shot on target. He ended up cannoning it off Bednarek's trailing left foot. Eriksen's corner is a deep one towards De Ligt at the far post. Ramsdale come, I don't know how he got hold of it, but he did. He sort of almost fell on top of the ball, really, Stuart.
Well, his own player took him out from coming to get the ball, and he half didn't know it was, half tried to buy a foul. Oh, no, it wasn't his own player, actually. It was Mainu.
Lewis Manuel has scored for Cambridge United, 1-1 in the game at Field Mill against Mansfield. And that game in League One. Elsewhere, Wycombe have taken a 2-1 lead away at Sixfields. And Northampton, who took the lead in the game, have been pegged back twice by Wycombe. It's 2-1 to the Chairboys. Here 2-0 to Manchester United after not a particularly great first 45 minutes from them, but a rewarding one. And they've got a free kick that they've given away here. Mainu with a foul on Tyler Dibbling, who I think we might see more of over the course of the season. He's still very young, and you can't overexpose an 18-year-old at this stage of his career, but he is a player who has made an impact in a match against an international footballer and against one of the biggest teams in the world, and he's on the march again here, trying to get in behind on the right-hand side. This time Dallo a little bit stronger than him, just nudges him off the ball. He just gained a little bit of an advantage over the Portuguese, got down that right-hand side, and then Dallo came to meet him.
I've got to say, Dallo, even on that occasion where he's managed to get a recovery run and get a body-against-body scenario and win that battle, he should have picked that run up a little bit quicker and a little bit earlier.
54 gone. Here is Brent Brereton Diaz just trying to clip the ball forward, but it was just a little bit too eager. Went over the top of the head of the diminutive Cameron Archer and into the arms of Andre Onana. Aaron Ramsdale's now conceded his last 9 games against Manchester United. He's conceded 21 goals in that period for a variety of different clubs. Must be sick of the sight of them. Manchester United trying to get out and getting out effectively up to the halfway line, and Mazraoui, and he canters forward, feeds Diallo, Amad Diallo to the edge of the area, picks out Xerxes, who dribbles his way past 2 players and then over-dribbled the ball, and in the end it pops up off Mazraoui as Walker-Peters tries to clear, and then Ramsdale pats it away, and it's all a little bit frenetic and no one's in complete control of what the hell is going on.
I tell you what, a real good indicator about a team, whether they're going to concede goals in a set division or week in, week out, is when the opposition break on you. And United broke, but I wouldn't say it was a blistering sort of attack. They still had 4 players up the pitch looking back at their own goal, and that's a dangerous thing to happen. It really is.
Southampton 0, Manchester United 2 on TalkSport with Sky Sports, and don't forget that you can stream more Sky Sports football than ever before, available with no contract, on now, like Aston Villa versus Everton live today. Search now Sports. 2-0 to Manchester United, who are looking for their 2nd win of the season, their 1st win on the road this campaign. They come forward up to the halfway line with Lisandro Martinez. Feed Marcus Rashford, who's encouraged to run. He goes past Dibbling and then past Fernandes. Fernandes tugs him back, and before he can get beyond Sugawara, the referee gives a free kick in United's favour. Just 6 or 7 yards in from this left touch line, about 10 yards inside Southampton's half. And out comes Russell Martin with his T-shirt, navy T-shirt and dark chinos, standing on the edge of his technical area. His thumb and forefinger pinching his nose as he watches on down in front of us.
Good at that.
Diego Dallo breaking the line. Far as Ericsson. Southampton can't get it clear at this moment in time. Matthias Fernandes trying to get away and does that successfully, then runs into Dallo and gives his team a chance by getting a free kick. It's a yellow card for Ericsson, who was trying to tug him back before then. Stuart Pearce, the baffled look on your face, I need it explaining.
Right. I mentioned to you earlier, United attacked and there's 4 players up the pitch for Southampton, just stood up the pitch looking back at their defence and saying, I hope we defend this. A couple of seconds later, with the baffled look on my face, Archer, Dibbling, Fernandes, all up the pitch doing exactly the same. There's only 2 Manchester United defenders stood next to them. You can't do that. This not in the Premier League. You cannot do that. You've got to sprint back to your own goal and defend.
What would you be saying if you were in that technical area then at that moment in time? How would you express that onto the field of play?
Well, there's very little you can do at the time, but it's got to be a culture at the club that, look, we might not be as good as some of the players and some of the teams in this division, so we're going to have to outwork them. As well as trying to play our football, we've got to outwork them. And if you've got 3 or 4 players stood up the pitch when the opposition are in and around your box, there's something just not right.
Manchester United, who scored at the end of the first half, lead by 2-0. Southampton thinking about making a couple of changes. They're warming up key individuals down our left-hand side, including Ryan Fraser, who's back at the club after terminating his contract at Newcastle United. He was at Southampton on loan last campaign, and he is available for them again today. Here is Xerxes for Manchester United on the halfway line. Back to Dallo. Dallo into Kobbie Mainoo. 2-0 to Manchester United. Later on today, Manchester City against Brentford is live on TalkSport 2. We're round the grounds with Adrian Durham, and then 8 o'clock tonight, Bournemouth against Chelsea. Here is Amad Diallo onto Bruno Fernandes. Into the box, across comes Jack Stevens. Good defending by him. Ponders in with a tackle, puts it out on the far side. It's away for a throw.
As I say, good attack from United, but they know full well there's going to be gaps appearing at the moment, because as soon as you take a snapshot of what's up the pitch, it's Archer, it's Diaz, it's Dibbling, it's Fernandez, all stood up the pitch looking back at their team defending.
Well, can't get out at the moment. Manchester United with a little bit more coordination as they look to win the ball high up. It's a bit better from Eric Ten Hag's team. Of course, it's a lot easier when you right-hand side. Gives it to Amad Diallo. Diallo just tickles up towards the edge of the Southampton penalty area, then goes beyond the defender, and Fernandez doesn't release him, so they go back towards the halfway line. It's collected eventually over on the far side by Bruno Fernandes again, and Manchester United just toying with Southampton a little bit, just grabbing hold of the ball and pushing it around a little bit. As they too warm up some substitutes. Alejandro Garnacho down in front of us is one of those, and here is Rashford, edge of the area after a poor clearance. He tries another shot towards the far corner, and Ramsdale is up there to make a save. He pushes it behind, and it goes out and away for a corner kick. So let's go off to the Amex Stadium. Brighton and Ipswich fans have seen goals galore. Who will they see today, Alex Crook?
Well, they won't see João Pedro, which is bad news for fantasy football fans up and down the country. He's come back from international duty injured, so Ruter makes his full debut. Ayari replaces Milner. As for Ipswich, they hand a debut to Dara O'Shea. Wes Burns also comes into the team.
We're going to get some changes here in just a second, but here is Bruno Fernandes from distance, cracking a shot from the edge of the penalty area into the wall after that corner. It goes all the way through to Aaron Ramsdale, stops it from going out. Oh, he didn't stop it out from going out, did he? It was out for a goal kick on this near side. Unnecessary to stop it in the first place. He thought it was going out for a corner, which is exactly why he tried to rescue it. The Manchester United players are pointing that out to Stuart Atwell, but it is going to be a goal kick away to our left-hand side. So let's go off to our commentary game on TalkSport 2. Brentford scored 4 goals in their last 4 games against Manchester City. Who's going to trouble the champions today, Ian Dante?
Well, I'll bring you the Brentford team news in a sec, but there's 4 changes for City. Erling Haaland starts this afternoon. There were some doubts about whether he would be here for personal reasons, but he's up front. The 4 changes: out go Diaz, Gvardiol, Doku and Bernardo Silva. In come Walker, Stones, Gundogan and Savinho. 2 changes for Brentford. Jensen is injured. His place goes to Keane Lewis Potter. And Sepp Vandenberg makes his first start for the Bees following his move from Liverpool. Schade is benched. It's Manchester City against Brentford at the Etihad.
A quadruple change for Russell Martin and Southampton. And on comes Ross Stewart, the lesser spotted Ross Stewart, who we haven't seen in the Southampton jersey for quite some time. He's been restricted by significant problems since joining them in the summer of 2023. He's hardly played at all, but he is on the pitch now to lead the line. Maxwell Cornet, Adam Lallana and Ryan Fraser also coming onto the pitch. And we've seen the departure of Cameron Archer. And we're waiting to find out who else is going to come off. Lallana's coming on. Who else is coming off? Everyone's just standing there looking at the 4th officials and say, any chance? I think it's Tyler Dibbling is coming off, although he's standing on the side of the pitch and still hasn't been replaced. And Leslie Ogochukwu is coming off too. So we've got 3 of our named substitutes. Now Ogochukwu is coming off. Dibbling going on for Lallana. Crikey, they're making a right meal of this. Dibbling's now asking, is it me who's coming off? You've been standing there for the last 3 minutes. Dear, oh dear. And I think the final one to come off is Matheus Fernandes. So we'll go off to, where should we go next and get some team news? Let's go to Alfie Reynolds, who's watching Crystal Palace against Leicester today. Both of them in need of points, Alfie.
They both are in need of their first Premier League win of the season, and Crystal Palace hand debuts to Eddie Nketiah and Max Lacroix. That's as part of 3 changes. Doucouré also comes into midfield. It's Kamada, Hughes and Richards who drop out. As for Leicester, it's 1 change. Mavididi replaces Fatawu, and Jordan Ayew starts against his former club.
So Maxwell Cornet is on one side. On the other side, Ryan Fraser has come on. And through the middle, Ross Stewart will be the lead striker. A complete change to the front line. So Brereton Diaz, Archer and Dibbling have come off. And Lallana's gone into midfield in place of Ogochukwu. It means Fernandes actually stayed on for Southampton. So all change in the front battalion. What will that give them, Stuart Pearce?
Well, it'll give them a bit more energy going backwards for a start, because the 4 that went off were the 4 that were bemoaning about not coming back to help out a little bit. I just feel as though the way the game was going at the moment, United looking very comfortable in setting the tempo of the game and counter-attacking when they need to. And I think he needs probably, as he's on the ball at the moment, Lallana to lend his experience to this and get on the ball and make them play.
Fascinating they've changed the entire attack, and it's a slightly different profile as well, isn't it? Because instead of the physicality coming from Brereton Diaz on the left-hand side, actually they've now got the tiny little Ryan Fraser on one side, Cornet, a speedster, on the other, and the big, tall, lanky figure of Ross Stewart down the middle to occupy De Ligt and Martinez. So it'll be a slightly different profile for De Ligt and Martinez to worry about. Ball being played down the right side by Jack Stevens. It's cut out by Diogo Dalot, and it goes out of play on this near side. Bednarek forward to Flynn Downs. Good turn by Adam Lallana to get away from Bruno Fernandes. He works it out wide towards the near side. Sugawara coming up to help out. Cornet sends it back towards the near side. Sugawara's got it again. Southampton on the attack. Into Flynn Downs. Pops it round the corner. Cornet's got it back. Try to find Sugawara. Did get there. Lallana joining the attack now. He pokes it back outside towards the Japanese, who gets it onto his left foot. Elevates across into the near post. It's away by De Ligt, who's tussling with Ross Stewart, but he's certainly got more to think about now. And then Dalot with a poor clearance, and then, well, Flynn Downs went down on the edge of the penalty area. The referee said nothing, and Manchester United will now look to break. Xerxes out towards the near side. Rashford coming forward, goes back infield to Xerxes once again. Then Rashford continues his run, but it's Eriksen who's got the ball on the edge of the D. Slow pace to the Manchester United attack there. Not enough ruthlessness when they got to the edge of the penalty area, and now they've gone back almost to halfway, Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, it did. On the edge of the box there, it was Eriksen who received the ball, and he obviously couldn't go past anyone, so had to slow it down and wait for the more quicker players to arrive. And it's been an interesting one for Southampton. As I say, they'll come away from this game and if it finished as is at the moment and think to themselves, you know what, probably missed opportunity and cite everything back to that penalty miss.
We're around the grounds at 2:30 this afternoon with Adrian Durham, who is going to be based at Anfield with Matt Jones and Darren Bent, who's alongside him today. Troy Deeney is going to be at the Amex alongside Alex Cook. We'll get team news from Anfield and Craven Cottage in just a second. We have got a free kick over on the far side, which is I don't think it's going to be a free kick. He's just making sure he's okay. And looks as if Matheus Fernandes is just struggling a little bit. So let's go off to Anfield. Usually tight games between Liverpool and Nottingham Forest. Is Matt Jones?
Liverpool have made a 100% start to the season, and they've returned to the international break, or from the international break, unscathed. So an unchanged side from their 3-0 win over Manchester United. That means Mo Salah will look to score for the 4th game running. That's not the case for Nottingham Forest, though. Nuno hands a debut to James Ward-Prowse, while Dominguez, Moreno and Yates are also in. Alanga, Hudson-Odoi, Williams and Murillo, the players to miss out. It's Liverpool against Nottingham Forest from 3.
Well, since they started charging mega bucks, Fulham's home form has dipped. Luckily, today they opened early. We're charging £1 a pint. So we sent our most disciplined reporter to the game. Ian Abrahams, what's the team news?
2 changes for Fulham. It's also a debut for Joachim Andersen instead of Issa Diop. The other changes up front, where out goes Munoz and in comes Jimenez. West Ham, 1 change, really interesting. Souček in for Paqueta, who's dropped to the bench.
Cheers, Ian Abrahams, who is at Fulham today. Nice place to watch a football, but very expensive there now. But I said they're £1 a pint, and a couple of, I think pies are cheap as well today at Fulham. The referee on the far side, the assistant referee on the far side, has lost his flag. Oh, I don't know what happened there. I think it didn't snap, did it? It just sort of fell out of his hand. And did someone kick it away? Is Bruno Fernandes got a yellow card?
No, Fernandes kicked the ball away. The ball had gone out.
Yeah.
Referee signalled. The linesman put his flag up, and then Fernandes crossed it.
And the flag bit fell off the top of the flag, and he had to put it back on again. Yellow card to Bruno Fernandes for kicking the ball away. I think that's called delaying the restart. And last time that we were together, there was a bit of an issue with that, wasn't there? If I remember rightly, it's why Declan Rice is not going to be at the North London derby tomorrow. Here is Mainu out to Fernandes. Fernandes again infield to Mazraoui, and now it's collected by Lisandro Martinez, and then De Ligt. 22 to go. Manchester United in control of possession now and controlling the tempo of the game, with that 2-goal advantage given to them at the end of the first 45 minutes. And interesting to see how the season develops for Manchester United. They have tried to implore this need for patience. They're building a new way of constructing their build-up. They're more patient in their build-up now. They want to play out from the back. We've seen it come with pitfalls elsewhere, but they've had a lot of possession of the football, especially in this second half. Martinez very useful at dissecting the lines with his balls forward. Has just picked out Eriksen, who's then found Kobbie Mainoo. When we first got the team sheet, our eyebrows were raised over the midfield, Eriksen and Mainoo. How would you rate their performance today, Stuart Pearce?
I think they've been okay, but then again, you don't lose track of the fact for the first, 30 minutes or so, Southampton done quite well against them. So you can't lose track of that. The fact of the matter is they're part of a team that's winning at the moment, that are in full control of this game. So it will look a very good selection.
Russell Martin has reacted by putting on 4 new faces, but haven't seen too much of them yet. And now, another, is that delaying a restart from corner? Yeah, he's getting a yellow card for not going 10 yards. So we've got another booking. And the last thing we need now is it's starting to get a little bit bitty here and there. That will not be helpful. Going to be a change for Manchester United. We're going to see Alejandro Garnacho, who has refound that bottle of platinum dye, I see, for his hair. Here is Kobbie Mainoo out towards the near touchline, and Rashford dispossessed by Sugawara, and it's out on this near side and away for a throw into Manchester United, who lead by 2-0 here at St Mary's. But they've won the ball back now, and they move it forward quickly, and Cornet is on the chase, and Martinez is going with him. Martinez dives in, and he just was a little bit more committed there, and I think Cornet tried to jump over it, but as a result lost the attempt to regain possession for Southampton. Manchester United are going to make 3 changes, I think, all at once. Garnacho, Ugarte and Maguire, all of them at the same time, which will change things up and also introduce us to Manuel Ugarte, who I think Manchester United supporters are looking forward to seeing.
It's interesting, you see more and more managers making changes at the heart of the back line and in defence, which is quite unusual, really. It's the sort of part of the team that you want it consistent.
And Ross Stewart penalised for a foul on Diogo Dalot. They want to make that change now, Manchester United, so they will go through the rigmarole of getting these 3 players on. Off comes Marcus Rashford, on comes Garnacho, like-for-like change. Ugarte, I think, will come on for Eriksen. That's my anticipation. Surprised, really, that Garnacho is kept on the bench. He was so influential at the end of last season. He does turn up in the big games. Rashford hasn't had much of an impact earlier in the season, kept his place. However, he did come up with that brilliant finish to put them 2-0 up. I know that Garnacho got himself in a spot of bother, as we mentioned yesterday on the breakfast show when we were talking about this game, suggesting that he decided to like one of those posts from Cristiano Ronaldo that Ronaldo was tagged in about the criticisms of Erik Ten Hag. So maybe he's just being kept an eye on and kept in his place by Ten Hag. Off comes Eriksen, on comes Ugarte, and off comes Mazraoui, who's come off, and on comes Maguire. So that I think that means that there's a problem for Mazraoui. Dalot has gone to right back, Lisandro Martinez to left back, Maguire alongside De Ligt at the heart of the defence. What do you expect from Ugarte? Because he's a very defensive-minded midfield player. I was looking at some of his statistics and what they call the wheel, which gives you a sort of idea of the characteristics of a player. He doesn't do much offensively, but he's very good defensively.
Well, I think for a game like this, they'll just want him to sit in there with Mainu and see the game out. You know, can they keep this clean sheet? The big problem for United, and you mentioned it pre-game, and as we've seen many times, you know, they can be played through the midfield area. So it's really important that they get someone in there to stop that happening.
Another yellow card has been flashed by the referee. What was that for this time?
I think kicking the ball away.
Is that Xerxes who got that yellow card? Might have been Harry Maguire who ended up kicking the ball away, I think.
Yeah,
in the end. So it's going to be him who gets the yellow card. You're listening to Southampton 0, Manchester United 2 on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car, whatever the mission, home or away. Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every single day. And the game's gone a little bit bitty, and it's starting to lose its flow and its tempo, and it's been broken up with fouls and niggles, and really and truly, Southampton need to find a way back into it in some way, shape or form. And what they don't want is this showboating from Fernandes over in the corner, lifting the ball over the heads of players and getting the olays from the supporters. He then ended up kicking the ball straight out of play and giving a throw-in away, but certainly entertained those who had made the journey down from Manchester over in that far corner.
Yeah, as I say, the game being sort of bitty at the moment suits one team and one team only, Manchester United. You know, they're the team with the goals in front. They're the team that will be happy to see the game out.
Southampton getting it forward to Sugawara, who's got the wrong side of Ugarte and played it out towards the near touchline, and Cornet has got space to run into here. Martinez comes across, but he's got to the edge of the penalty area, goes on the outside, plays it against Martinez, who intervenes well, actually, deflects the ball into the fullback position, and Garnacho scurrying back gets there to help out. Ugarte clattered to the floor by Lallana, and it's going to be a free kick on the edge of the penalty area for Manchester United. So here are the latest scorelines elsewhere. In the Championship, Leeds 0, Burnley 1, Millwall 0, Luton 1, Oxford 1, Stoke 0. That's in the Championship. In League 1, Mansfield 2-1 up now against Cambridge United, and Wickham have come from behind to lead Northampton by 2-1. In League 2, Wimbledon leading MK Dons by 1-0, Swindon 4-0 up, and that Wimbledon result really interesting because they've won just one of their last 9 league games against MK Dons. And it's a really important game for Wimbledon to get in and get out. They don't like the game, they don't want to get involved in it, but they have to because they're in the same division. But to beat them and walk away, they'll be very happy with that at Plough Lane today. They lead by 1-0. Johnny Evans is on now, and Lisandro Martinez is off. So having had a very short spell at left back, Maxwell Cornet has now got to come up against the third player in the matter of moments, because Lisandro Martinez has come off now, and they've changed half their back for Manchester United.
Yeah, and if you're Cornet now, you'll be saying, give me the ball, I'm going to run at Evans, and I'm sure Evans doesn't really want to be slotted in at left back.
Here's Amo Diallo down the right-hand side, picking out Diogo Dallo, who's crossing the byline, comes back to the edge of the area. It's thundered forward by Kobbie Mainoo, scoops into the air after a deflection off Bednarek, and caught by Aaron Ramsdale. And Ryan Fraser actually wanted it played very quickly out towards the far side and up on the halfway line. Didn't quite get it, but he has got it now. And he turns under pressure from Amad Diallo, who gives away a free kick, and it's going to be a Southampton ball 3 yards in from the touchline over on the left-hand side. They want to get things moving, and probably a little bit too eagerly. The ball was still rolling, so Carl Walker-Peters is told by Stuart Atwell to do it again. 12 minutes to go. Is there a way back into this for Southampton? Because at this moment in time, Manchester United are having it just a little bit too easy.
Yeah, it looks as though the shape of what Southampton are trying to achieve just diminished a little bit, certainly compared to the first half.
Sugawara into Fernandes. There was a brighter ball there for Sugawara to play. He needed to play it earlier. That was a poor challenge by Stevens. Garnacho rolling around theatrically, but it was a poor challenge by Stevens. He completely missed the ball, hacked down Garnacho, and he's going to find himself in the referee's notebook here. It's a red card. Straight red for Jack Stevens. And now Southampton are down to 10 men. They're 2 goals down, and they can complain all they like, but it was a cynical, stupid challenge from Jack Stevens. And the argument will be here that he endangered the safety of an opponent, and he took no care at all. He was late, he was high, he'd left the ground, his foot was outstretched. It's a red card.
I've got to say, listen, if you're a Southampton fan or in the Southampton coaching team, you think you've been hard done by there. You could tell by his body language he was going to make no attempt at jockeying the player, trying to do the right things that you should be doing on a football pitch. It just took him out. It was high, it was cynical, and in all honesty, I think a red card's probably the right decision.
It's a red card because he's not in control of his body movements. He's got no attempt to play the ball. He is endangering the safety of the opponent because he's coming in without the control. And it's done in an area of the field where he doesn't need to make the challenge. It's a ridiculously stupid decision. And now, not only has he cost his team today, but he's going to miss their next game as well. It's a silly decision.
Well, on the grounds that he's got himself sent off there, and on the grounds that it was probably him that didn't get out in the first half that cost his team a goal, that might be a blessing in disguise. But to be honest with you, for all the things that Southampton are revered about in the first half, about how well they played, how confident they look within it, they've just looked as though they've lost their way a little bit in regard to this, and the manager's just been booked as well.
Yeah, Russell Martin's just received the booking. 38-year-old in his second season as the Saints boss, got them promoted in his first, but he's got a job on his hands if he wants to keep them up this season. On comes Taylor Harwood-Bellis, and off comes Matheus Fernandes. He's off, and Southampton having to make that change, their final change, because of the sending off of Jack Stevens. So Harwood-Bellis is on. It's currently Southampton 0, Manchester United 2. And for the latest odds, you can head to Betfair, the official betting partner of TalkSport's Premier League coverage, where right now you can get Manchester United to win the game at 80-1 on, the draw 28-1, Southampton at 400-1. That's all thanks to Betfair, who are paying out winning bets at 90 minutes with 90-minute guarantee. Terms and conditions apply. 18+, speedgambleaware.org. It's sort of sucked the drama out of it as well, hasn't it? You know, they're down to 10 men now. There's not much chance of them getting back into the game, and they haven't really shown the ability to test the Manchester United defence. It's been a little bit, it's simple for Manchester United second half.
It has. It's turned out to be a comfortable away trip eventually, to be quite honest with you. And I think Southampton have played into that a little bit. The 2 defensive mistakes, they've obviously, everything tracks back to the penalty miss in the first half as well.
Well, it's the first of 7 games over the next 23 days for Manchester United. Games against Porto and FC Twente in the Europa League. Barnsley live on TalkSport till Tuesday night in the Carabao Cup as well. A busy period where every member of the squad will need to be used. And bearing in mind that Toby Collier is on the bench today and Ethan Wheatley on the bench today for Manchester United, it's going to be difficult for them to rotate too much. Still waiting for Rasmus Højlund to get back to full fitness. Tyrell Malacia hasn't even started team training yet. Mason Mount still out injured at this moment in time, and Luke Shaw still to come back for Manchester United. So there's still a few injuries to clear up.
Where does Højlund and Xerxes, how do you see them playing together or not?
But I'm sure there will be moments when they do play together, but I think it's one or the other, because Bruno Fernandes is the 10. Xerxes can play a little bit more withdrawn. Højlund is the out-and-out striker, but I think the likelihood is that Højlund, when he's fit and available, will play the majority of the games. But I mean, they spent a lot more money on him than they did on Xerxes. He is an out-and-out number 9, whereas Xerxes sort of describes himself as a 9.5. You know that position. Don't look at me like that.
I used to play a 3.9, to be fair.
Did you?
Yeah, indeed.
Well, that's what they do nowadays, isn't it? They do. You know,
very advanced.
They play 3.9s because they're half a fullback, or mainly a fullback, but then a little bit of central midfield player, number 4. Here is Mainu on the edge of the area. Handball against Garnacho, got in the way. Yeah, all right. 3.9's more of a 4 than a 3, yeah, okay. You know what I mean, they're fluid. Here is Sugawara on this near side. I knew he was going to pick me up on that. Up to Ross Stewart. Good ball into Flynn Downs. Cornet's on his bike, but they didn't feed him early enough. Downs now eventually gives the Ivorian the ball. Right side, cross into the box. Not a great delivery, cut out by Diogo Dalot. And any real danger has passed very quickly. Found by Downs on Mainu as he looked to escape. And free kick is given to Manchester United with 6 minutes to go. Well, Eric Ten Hag, what will he have learned during the course of this particular? Oh, hold on, what's the problem here? They were about to make a substitution, Manchester United. Anthony was going to come on, and then De Ligt said, actually, I've got a bit of an issue here. He's back on his feet again now. He just wants to test it, make sure he's okay. Don't take any chances, fella. I'm saying it, he had a hamstring issue, and Anana was trying to get him substituted. Either way, I think they'll delay the introduction of Anthony and wait to see what happens. Yeah, what has Eric Ten Hag learned from his team today?
I'm not sure there's a big lesson to be learned from them, to be fair. I mean, the fact of the matter is they played through the thirds and counter-attacked quite well when they've had to. We knew that anyway, and Ten Hag knew that better than us. Southampton put them on the back foot early on in the first half and made them look a little fragile, you know. That's something we knew anyway. So not a great deal, I don't think. The most important thing is the 3 points, the clean sheet. If they're going to establish that, that's the most important thing coming out of this game.
Here is Sugawara on this near side. Southampton about to become just the 5th team to lose 400 Premier League games. Lallana. All the way back to Jan Bednarek. Out towards the near touchline it goes. It's collected by Garnacho, then challenged by Lallana. Lallana then sees it out on this near side. We're going to get another substitute, and Casemiro is coming on now. I wonder who they're going to take off here. They're going to take off De Ligt. If they take off De Ligt, that means they've changed 3 of the 4 members of their back line. The only one who's... In fact, there isn't one member of Manchester United's back 4 playing now in the position with which they started. Dalot was playing on the left. He's now on the right. Casemiro and Maguire are the centre-halves, and Johnny Evans is the left-back.
As I said, normally you have a consistency with your back 4 and change the others, but this is like, well, it's modern football, I suppose.
They had consistency for about 25 minutes, Stuart. Here is Maguire taking it away from Ross Stewart, then almost giving it to Maxwell Cornet. Flynn Downs picks it up. Ross Stewart again plays it square. Here's Carl Walker-Peters being chased by Diallo, but gets into the Manchester United half, then skips past Bruno Fernandes, feeds it out wide to Ryan Fraser. He faces up Diego Dalot, turns it back into Walker-Peters, and instead of crossing into the box, goes back to Bednarek. We've got just 3 minutes of added time here. Collected by Downs. Forward now, out on this near side. Cornet, back to halfway, all the way back into the path of Harwood Bellis, and then back to Ramsdale. We've got 3 minutes for Southampton to score a goal and win our 15-1 Betfair bet builder. Here is Fernandes shooting from distance, and it's wide. We've actually come close again we came close down at Brighton, didn't we? Well, we were 2 fouls away from winning the jackpot there. It was very close today to winning with Betfair.
Well, I think it's been a really unfortunate near miss today for you, because with the ball on the penalty spot, you'd have thought,
yes,
every chance.
Yes, and Cameron Archer's miss was a big turning point. 2 goals to the good, though, Manchester United now going into the final few minutes of the game. And Russell Martin, who I think is under a little bit of pressure from the Southampton supporters, will have to lick his wounds and go again. It's not been a great start to the season for his team, even if a couple of the performances have actually been okay. And even in the first 45 minutes today, their performance was pretty good. It's just unfortunate that the since going down by a goal to nil, things have completely gone the other way, and they've had no recourse back to it. They still have only scored 1 goal this season, Southampton, in the Premier League, and that was right at the very end of their match against Brentford, when already they had lost the game. MK Dons are now 2-0 down to Wimbledon. Goal coming late on. Wimbledon going to win that game, and they'll be pretty delighted about that at Plough Lane today. All the goals as they're going from around the grounds with Adrian Durham very shortly. It's only the second time in 10 meetings that Wimbledon have won that particular fixture. Next up for Southampton, they take on Everton in the League Cup on Tuesday night. I mean, that is actually quite a fascinating game now, because I don't think either of them have got designs on the Carabao Cup, but both of them can't afford to keep losing. And then at the weekend, Ipswich, before they go away to Bournemouth and Arsenal before the next international break. So some key fixtures there for Southampton to try and negotiate. United fans in good voice over on the far side. Here is Casemiro with 30 seconds of normal time to play. Xerxes flicks it on. Garnacho takes it down, tries to get into the penalty area, sets it back up for Bruno Fernandes, who's caught in 2 minds actually. And United win it back through Agate right on the edge of the penalty area. Southampton about to lose their 4th game in succession. It's the first time that a team has done that in 3 different Premier League seasons.
It's how it shakes the confidence going forward. You know, you can see in the body language. I know the game's beyond them at this moment in time, but
it's been a limp second half, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Manchester United have just been able to push the ball around and not really worry too much about what's going on at the other end. In fact, Diallo has pinched it here and got into the penalty area, tried to pull it back for Joshua Xerxes. It's come to Mainu, and then Xerxes should have given it to Garnacho. He shot and was blocked by Harwood Bellis. Garnacho was lurking with intent inside the 18-yard box and could have really finished it off.
I'll tell you what, that was fantastic pullback from Mainu. He's run onto it and you thought, smash it, and he's just cut it back to Xerxes, and Xerxes should have done a lot better.
Here is Amad Diallo again. He's caused some problems down that right-hand side. He's had a bright performance today. He nudges it back towards Diego Dallo. Gets it back, then turns it infield, looks up, says, right, where do you want it next? It's on to Casemiro. They're taking their time. They're queuing up inside the penalty area. Ball in towards the near post, and Garnacho coming in from the near side towards the edge of the 6-yard box was clattered by Ramsdale. And we are into the first of 6 added minutes at the end of the 90. We've got Manchester City against Brentford on TalkSport 2 from 2:30 this afternoon. Kicks off at 3 o'clock. Round the grounds with Adrian. Sunday session tomorrow comes from Fratton Park, where they host West Bromwich Albion. That game's live on TalkSport 2. We'll be giving you all the goals as they go in, updates as well from the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. We've got cricket for you as well. Super League, the whole works tomorrow on the Sunday session. We look forward to it. Not too far, Fratton Park from here. You can pop in on your way home if you want.
The rugby's on tonight, fella.
Oh, sorry,
followed by last night at the Proms. You know, that's my evenings catered for.
I'll be in a pub in Southsea watching Aston Villa Everton and then Bournemouth versus Chelsea.
No, I might be viewing the Bournemouth-Chelsea one as well, actually.
It's better than last night at the Proms, isn't it? Surely.
No, not from the Albert Hall, fella. Come on now.
Come on. Here is... ever been to last night at the Proms?
Yes.
Of course you have.
When I was a Forest player, I went once. No, I think someone said they could get me a ticket. So we had a Forest home game. I went all the way down from Nottingham, got down there, and they didn't have a ticket for me. And all of a sudden, I turned up in someone's box there. They didn't have a clue who I was, and we managed to get in. I think he knew the doorman or something. I don't know, but I got in. Dame Kiri Takinawa.
Yeah, into the box, across from Jan Bednarek, makes a challenge, it goes out and it's away for a corner right at the end of the game.
I think the answer to your question is the one you're pressing me on at the moment and always do on a regular basis is no, I don't think I did pay.
Oh dear.
Anyway, it's a really good night.
Do you pay the toll on the M6?
I pay my taxis, don't worry about that.
Here is Fernandez on this near side. Good job you aren't coming out tonight. I wouldn't like you to be in a round. Here is Fernandez to take the corner on this near side. Right-footed. Flat delivery, edge of the box. Amad Diallo on the volley, but he didn't catch it right, and there was always a foul in the middle of the park, which is going to cause an issue anyway. And Bednarek has gone down. And it's going to be a free kick on the edge of the box. So we've got 2 minutes of added time here. Russell Martin, we'll try and hear from him actually after this game in the next section of the programme on TalkSport and ask him some questions about what he thought he's learned from today's performance, because he did try to do his best to freshen things up with 3 new forwards. There's a bit of a problem here for Harry Maguire, who looks as if he's got a bit of an issue. He's hobbling now as well. Manchester United's defenders are dropping like flies.
He does. He looks very, very uncomfortable.
He's staying right back and he can hardly move at this moment in time, Harry Maguire. I hope he can run that off and it's just a dead leg. But he doesn't look particularly comfortable. It takes a lot to take him down. 1 minute and 15 seconds to go. Here's Garnacho.
I would say an elephant gun wouldn't take Harry down.
Fernandez. Dispossessed and quickly. Southampton now trying to break. Not a great ball forward by Lallana. Can't get out. And Southampton are pinned back in again. Amad Diallo picks it up. Right edge of the penalty area. It's been a very tepid second half from the home team after such a bright start to the game. But the momentum was knocked out of them by those 2 quick goals at the end of the first half by Manchester United. 2 quick goals which you might say were preventable. But either way, Manchester United scored them and since then have not looked back. In fact, they haven't had to look over their shoulder at all, really. And that's been the sad thing for the Southampton supporters that have been inside this stadium. It's emptying now and emptying quickly as Dalot gets round the back, pulls it back, cuts it back for Garnacho, fires it into the roof of the net. And Manchester United will win this game by 3-0, and that will put out a few fires for now at least. It will look on paper like a comprehensive victory, and in truth, in the final 60 minutes, Manchester United have been in complete control. They barely had to get out of second gear in the second half, but they will go home with all 3 points. The Southampton fans stream out of the exit. They are beaten again, and well beaten again. It's 3-0.
Yeah, as I say, Garnacho's come in, swept it in, and I've got to say, I think it was Harwood Bellis who's playing sort of in a right-back position. He should be stepping up there. Once again, the whole back line's up. He drops in to a deep position, plays onside, keeps the United players onside, and when it's pulled back, Garnacho swept it into the net for a 3-0.
Erik ten Hag at just the right time. Whenever they need 3 points, whenever they need a big win, they seem to get it. Manchester United this game, but once Manchester United got themselves in front, there was no looking back. Southampton now have suffered 4 frightful defeats in succession in the Premier League. Their focus on trying to stay in the race for as long as possible is certainly going to be their primary objective. But unless something fundamentally changes quickly, they're on a slippery slope, I'm afraid. Look, only 4 games in, but they're up against it. It's finished at St Mary's. Southampton 0, Manchester United 3.
Sam SK, thank you very much. Right in the closing stages of that game, those steady cams, the cameras that really focus close on the pitch, were all over Russell Martin, and they will certainly be all over him right now, because everyone is wondering, what can he do? What is he going to do to reverse this tide? Because this is not a good result for Southampton, 4 defeats in a row, but it's a huge one for Manchester United. Maybe it may not fully redeem Erik ten Hag. He will still, of course, have his doubters, but this is massive. A defeat would have been unthinkable. So victory, defeat, defeat, and now another victory in their opening 4 games this season. That is a good result for the visitors today. As for Southampton, as Sam rightly said, they peaked early, didn't they? What a great performance in those opening 30 minutes. They missed the chance to take the lead, and it was pretty much downhill from there. And of course, that sucker punch from Alejandro Garnacho really killing off this game right at the moment, when in truth the game was already dead. Southampton didn't look like they could put any energy into this game. They just lost their flow. They have to find a way out of this, and he's going to have to find it very quickly. But for Erik ten Hag, good day at the office, Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, as they say in any conflict, the victors write the story, and Manchester United will be writing the story. 3-0 away from home. Probably doesn't tell the whole picture and the whole story, but they'll be delighted with that. It's a great result for United. They've come into the game manager under the pump a little bit, as often been the case week in, week out. But they took their chances. They were clinical with their chances, but with a big but as well, Southampton played their part in helping them with their chances, not pushing out collectively for 2 of the 3 goals, and they'll be disappointed with that. To draw a line under it and punctuate it in many ways, miss the penalty, give chances away at the other end, and it proved costly of it.
All right, people, it's all over here. Southampton, Manchester United, 3 guys. Yep, it's a bounce back victory here for Manchester United, comfortable one, and it's good to see players stepping up.